And I rise up through my ashes, and I have to rise up. Rise. Ah, shut your mouth! Nobody wants to hear this. You know what I'm saying? What's up, cucks? It's your boy, the hater, alright? Here's how this is gonna go down. I've recorded several videos for the next few days, and I wasn't even planning on doing a Raw review. But after watching the first 10 minutes of this episode of Raw and hearing, and I rise up, and all that stupid crap, I figured a video was necessary. So here we go. Several weeks ago, I predicted that the exact same things that happened today would happen the Raw after WrestleMania. I predicted Cody Rhodes would come out, and before you could even say a word, the fans would predictably chant, "You deserve it," and so forth. They would also chant, "Cody, Cody." You can look it up in my old videos. Now, before all this circle jerk started, Triple H comes out. First of all, Triple H, maybe it's the job, but he looks like he's aged 15 years in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? If you compare Triple H, who's like 54, I think, to Vince McMahon when he was like in his mid-50s during the Attitude Era, it's like night and day. It's like night and day. Like Triple H looks like he's barely hanging on, right? He can't handle this. You know what I'm saying? You have to be built different. You have to be built like Vince to be able to have that vibrance that Vince had. Triple H just feels like a suit. You know, he feels like Magnus. But anyways, that's not here nor there. I don't really care about Triple H. This isn't about him, you know? Cookie Rhodes, I'm happy for the man. You know what I mean? I got no hate in my heart. Cody Rhodes takes this seriously, so good for him. You know what I mean? I like it. I don't care if the person that it happens to is someone that I dislike as a character. I like when people achieve their goals, and I like seeing people happy. So good for Cookie. However, after this, Triple H is going to leave the ring, and he says, "We put together a package for you." So then my estimation that fans are going to turn on Cody in about 7 to 8 months just went down to 5 months. This was so cringe. This was embarrassingly bad, right? A stupid video package starts playing, just showing pictures of Cody Rhodes with that stupid song, "And I rise up through the darkness, and I rise up." Ah, shut it. You know what I'm saying? The song is inappropriate for what's happening. No badassery, no masculinity at all. One time I remember I was driving with my dad, and I was playing some music, and on comes the song, I forget what it's called, the one by George Michael, the "And I'm never gonna dance again." You know what I'm talking about, that one. And I like that song, right? And my dad's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "There's not an ounce of masculinity in this song." And I realized, that's fucking true. This is like just like a girl song, right? Same thing with this song and with the entire video package. Meanwhile, as they're showing the video package, they juxtaposition Cody Rhodes' face live crying. This guy's fucking crying again. He cries when he loses. He cries when he wins. He cries when he wrestles. He cries when he doesn't. So, as far as I'm concerned, Cody just sucks, right? But good for him. Good for the man behind Cody Rhodes, Cody Runnels. I'm happy that he achieved something. Now, I was watching this with my fiance before she went to bed, and she's like, "Oh, but come on, babe, you know, like, don't be a hater." You know what I'm saying? Like, she forgot who I am, right? She's like, don't be a hater. Like this, you know, like they're putting something together here, right? And I said, Lionel Messi, right? And I've always been more of a Ronaldo guy, but Lionel Messi won the World Cup. He did not cry. Lionel Messi won a real sports title, right? Arguably, in my opinion, it's not even close, the most prestigious thing you can win in sports, the World Cup. He was the man. He led his team against all odds. I didn't think he was going to do it, and I wanted to see him fail until they got to the finals. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a moment in the making, right? And Lionel Messi didn't cry, as far as we saw. Cody Rhodes wins a make-believe title in a make-believe sport, and he cries. Fine. After this, after Cody rises up, The Rock comes out, right? And I'm not going to lie, this was boring. The Rock came out, and this final boss thing is kind of lame if you really think about it. He's just there, doesn't talk much. He's just waiting for the fans to calm down. The fans are booing him, right? And then The Rock starts talking about, like, nonsense. Like, what the hell is he saying? You know what I mean? It was very weird. The Rock starts talking about how, like, he wants to hold Cody's title, which would have been fine normally, but it was just a very prolonged moment. It was so prolonged, in fact, that the fans start chanting, "This is awkward," because they literally just trade titles. They hold the titles for a few seconds, and they trade them back before The Rock makes an observation how the title fits him or whatever, right? Then The Rock says he's going to go away for some time for no reason whatsoever. Doesn't explain why, right? Basically, he's done with wrestling until, you know, it's relevant again. And he congratulates Cody. Then basically he says, "I'm coming for you when I come back," right? But the problem here is that The Rock gives Cody something. I don't know what it is. I thought it was going to be the watch that Dusty Rhodes was supposed to give him or whatever. But he gives him something and he says, "Don't ever break my heart again, kid." And then he leaves. And then Cody Rhodes just over emotes in his face. And you think that he just like told Cody Rhodes that like, you know, Cody Rhodes is about to get fired or something. But it is what it is, right? It was just really, really bad in my opinion. The whole segment, the whole Cody Rhodes thing. Like I'm looking at the results for today's Raw just as a refresher. And it says here in whatever WrestlingView.com, which is the first thing that I clicked, just a beautiful video showcases Cody Rhodes' journey from the start to the Undisputed Championship. An emotional Rhodes is shown watching the video. That's the problem. Too much fucking emotion and not enough badassery, but more on that later, cuckolds. Then all this bullshit concludes, and that's it. We're never going to see Cody Rhodes again for the rest of the night. The only thing is Cody Rhodes shows like, I think he's like, "This is my why." And he shows like a little video of his daughter being like, Papa, win the championship, Papa. Finish your story, Papa. And good for her, you know what I mean? Like, she's a little girl. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know she's being exploited, right? But that's neither here nor there, right? Why is it that Cody Rhodes' daughter is more important than, I don't know, the daughter of any other wrestler that has kids? Cody Rhodes' daughter and Sami Zayn's son all of a sudden are like characters, right? Why is, I don't know, does Damien Priest have a daughter or a son? Why aren't they being featured? Damien Priest won the title. Why isn't he being featured? For what reason is Cody Rhodes the main guy, right? This really made the World Heavyweight title just look like the bullshit title that it is, right? It doesn't matter anymore. Cody Rhodes is the guy, and this was made clear today. Damien Priest is a complete afterthought, and nobody gives a flying fuck. Then, speaking of Damien Priest, man, this guy who wrote these things, he wrote like a fucking book. Just give us the results, cuck. He wrote it with quotes. Jesus Christ. My God, man. Where is it? Okay, whatever. I'm going to have to find a new one. But I believe the next thing that happened was Judgment Day came out, right? They showed them, like, coming into the arena, basically. And they're naturally happy, right? The one person that stands out and is weird is JD McDonough. He just doesn't fit. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like he doesn't fit in this what's it called? In this faction. But whatever. It is what it is. Jesus fucking Christ. Everybody that wrote this, everyone wrote it with like they wrote like the entire, like everything that happened. You know what I mean? What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Where are the goddamn results? Anyways, I do remember what actually happens. And what actually happens is this. R-Truth comes out when the Judgment Day poses. Basically, Damien Priest says, "All rise for the Judgment Day." He's dressed in red. He looks very weird. You know what I mean? He just doesn't look like a champion, honestly. Like, I thought he was cool, but now he's like, what is he? You know what I mean? But anyways, he comes out, and R-Truth comes up behind him and raises his title. And R-Truth says, basically, like, "I brought the gold back to Judgment Day," which was great. I thought that was awesome. Then the Miz comes out, and they have a little promo. And R-Truth says it's going to be Miz and him. And it's going to be them, basically, and a partner you can't see. So I thought he was talking about Little Jimmy, but in fact, he was talking about John Cena. The match starts. It's completely uneventful. Eventually, John Cena's music hits. John Cena comes out, bald spot and all. And basically, they do like a huge comeback. They tag Cena. And Cena does like the moves of doom. And so does R-Truth, and so does The Miz. It was pretty great to see Miz and Cena being friends. And they all do attitude adjustments to their opponents and pin them all clean. Oh, we also had Ilya Dragunov versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This was, it wasn't a good match at all. Ilya Dragunov is like 5'1". But I do like Ilya Dragunov. For what he is, he does a good job. You know, he's jacked. He is unique. He fights like wrestling is real. But Nakamura doesn't. And people started cheering for Ilya Dragunov because nobody really gives a fuck about Nakamura, which people have been saying for years. But all of a sudden now people realize that Nakamura is a boring jobber. Nobody gives a flying fuck. Ilya Dragunov beats him in what essentially amounts to a squash match, right? I think that actually happened before the Judgment Day thing, but I don't really give a rat's ass, to be honest. Next up, what do we have next up? We have Indy Hartwell and Roxanne Perez. I don't know what happened. I skipped it completely. Then we have an in-ring segment. Sami Zayn comes out, right? Let's see what happened. Roxanne Perez wins, obviously. The new one is going to beat the old one, right? Whatever it is, what it is. Then we have an in-ring segment. Sami Zayn comes out and has the exact same segment as Cody Rhodes, right? The fans start chanting, "You deserve it," because everyone that wins something in this company fucking deserves it. It's never someone that doesn't deserve it, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. Sami Zayn, basically, he has a shirt on that says Khadija, which is his wife's name. Khadija, I did it. It's like a callback to Rocky, right? But it's like, you're a fucking 4-time Intercontinental Champion. And he's talking about it like he just won the world title, Relax, bro. You won the jobber title, right? From a jobber champion. I don't care that the jobber champion had the jobber title for 2 years. He's still a jobber champion. Then fucking, what's it called? Imperium, without Gunther for some reason, come out, right? It was interesting to see that none of the losers from WrestleMania came out. This was just like a parade of winners, right? Imperium comes out, Chad Gable comes out, they have a match. Sammy lets Chad Gable do the Chaos Theory, and they win, right? And what happens then is, afterwards, in a segment later on in the night, Sami Zayn tells Chad Gable next week for the Intercontinental title. At least Sami Zayn is having matches. Then we have Chelsea Green versus Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill obviously beats her immediately. But something needs to happen from this, right? Jade Cargill, you can't really fuck around with this too much. Then, the best part of the night happens, right? Drew McIntyre comes out, and he cuts an awesome promo. I really like Drew McIntyre now all of a sudden, right? I mean, if it were up to me, he would be on his knees a little bit less, because this fucking guy is on his knees like 90% of the time, right? Like, he just gets on his knees and flips his hair. It's a little weird, you know? And it completely does not fit the character of Drew McIntyre, who presents himself otherwise like a very masculine guy, right? He cuts a promo basically saying, CM Punk, it's on site now, right? Number one. Two, he buries Damian Priest. He says, fucking bondage Undertaker over here takes his opportunity and beats me, right? Then he says, I'd say I'd whip your ass, but you'd probably like it, which was great, right? Because Damian Priest is a little bit, as The Rock would say, cum si, cum sa. Like, you don't know what the fuck's going on there, right? I'm not sure, maybe he's gay, I don't know. But, like, he certainly is, like, weird, right? Like, he wears eyeshadow, and then he like, has hair extensions like a girl. It's a little bit odd, right? Like, it's like, you know when what's his name? Tyler Rex, what is it? Like the guy that transitioned into a woman. Like when that happened, people were like, what the fuck? I never expected that to happen because he was like a masculine dude, right? With Damian Priest, it's like, I'm not saying that Damian Priest is gay or is trans, obviously. Like, I don't think he is, right? I actually like Damian Priest. But I don't know why all of a sudden he's getting more and more feminine. Like he just wears more eyeshadow. He's way more clean cut. Right? He has pretty hair. You know what I mean? It's a little bit weird. And Drew McIntyre pointed this out. It's like, what the fuck? This guy's weird. He's like a bondage guy. What is that all about, right? And Drew McIntyre basically buries the entire world. And he basically says, like, I'm fucking Drew McIntyre. And I really like this because he really pointed out the weaknesses. Like, Damian Priest, in the context of modern wrestling, Damian Priest is definitely, I would argue, one of the good ones, right? No doubt about it. Damian Priest is better than the average. Like, Damian Priest is better than Cody Rhodes. But Damian Priest is not better than Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre made that clear today, right? Drew McIntyre is essentially, if it weren't for the kneeling, right? If it weren't for the kneeling, he would be by far the most masculine guy they have on the roster now that Lesnar is gone, and now that Roman Reigns is gone. Drew McIntyre is a real man, right? And he comes off as one, and he wrestles like one. He's out there, like, he gets it. I think he needs better finishers, but his other moves are on point. He's out there throwing motherfucks left and right. All of a sudden, Bronson Reed, Jey Uso, and Ricochet come out, and they're going to wrestle Drew in a fatal four-way to determine the number one contender. Now, let's think about this. Obviously, Ricochet has no chance in hell to win this match because he wasn't even on WrestleMania. Bronson Reed was also not in WrestleMania, so he has zero chance, right? Jey Uso, I didn't think he was going to win, but I did have an inkling because he's a face, and the person that's going to wrestle Damian Priest needs to be a face, right? Also, it needs to be kind of a jobber because Damian Priest is a Money in the Bank guy, so that doesn't really, like, buy him any credibility, right? Like, the idea is, like, well, Drew McIntyre should be able to destroy him completely, right? Because if that weren't the case, then, you know, Damian Priest wouldn't cash in on Drew sneakily, right? He'd just be like, let's have a match, right? I can beat you, let's have a match, right? That's one thing that I don't like about the Money in the Bank thing, right? Just like Obafemi cashed in on, like, Dragon Lee or whatever it was, and he won, like, the mid-card title in NXT, and then now nobody can beat Obafemi. It's like, well, if he was so great, why did he have to cash in on Dragon Lee like that? Why didn't he cash in, number one, on Ilya Dragunov, right? And just do a fair match if he's like this big, powerful motherfucker. But anyways, I digress. The point is, we have Drew McIntyre. He's out there just destroying people, right? There's a certain spot in the match where he takes that fat-ass Bronson Reed and puts him on a table on the outside. Bronson Reed, considering what he is, I don't hate Bronson Reed anymore, right? He reminds me a lot of Gunther, except he has better moves than Gunther, and he has a more unique look than Gunther, right? Like, if you compare Gunther's, like, worst splash ever, like, Gunther has the worst top rope splash of all time. Like, I don't think anybody has a worse splash, right? If you compare his splash to the tsunami looks like a million times better. But anyways, they put that fat ass on the table, and Ricochet has an opportunity to win the match, but for some reason, he's retarded, so he forgets that this is for the number one contendership, right? So instead, he does a springboard, 450 to the outside of the table, right? He kind of misses, and basically his ribs and chest area hit like the edge of the table, right? It looked painful as hell, right? So he's out of the match too, like in kayfabe as well as probably in real life, right? So it's just Drew McIntyre and the other guy. It's just me, Oos, day one-ish. I do like that song a lot, right? And Drew McIntyre basically is destroying him. Drew McIntyre is getting ready for the Claymore. CM Punk appears out of nowhere, grabs Drew's leg, and Jay Uso hits the spear and the splash, and he wins. Now, I will say this. Yes, CM Punk was injured by Drew McIntyre, but now he's costing Drew McIntyre matches. Drew McIntyre didn't cost CM Punk anything. CM Punk cost CM Punk something, right? And that's another thing that Drew McIntyre mentioned in his promo. He said, I'm going to go for your weak point, CM Punk. And then he said, except for your whole body is a weak point, right? Which is fucking true. Drew McIntyre was spitting facts. He was out there just being like, okay, we have like, submissive Undertaker over there, BDSM Undertaker. Then we got CM Punk, who's just like fucking frail bitch, right? And he's just burying everybody. So I really do like Drew McIntyre. He really is the only highlight in wrestling. If you really look at every match, we have one fat ass called Bronson Reed, and we have Drew McIntyre, and literally everyone else would have been a cruiserweight in 1999. They all would have been lightweights wrestling Gilbert for the lightweight title. Let's be real. All of them. Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, Marcel Bartel, or whatever the fuck his name is now, Ludwig Kaiser, fucking the other guy, Giovanni Vinci. They're all like less than 220 pounds. All of them, right? There wasn't, the only person there who remotely looks like a wrestler is Drew McIntyre. Fucking, like, what's his face? Bronson Reed is big, but he doesn't look like a wrestler. He looks like a fat ass. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a fat ass. So, Drew McIntyre pretty much is keeping the show alive. Everybody else looks like a jobber. And as predicted, Cody Rhodes didn't do anything of value. He just came and had his moment. And I don't think he's going to wrestle next week. I don't see Cody Rhodes wrestling for a long time. Now, the truth is this. The Raw after WrestleMania usually has, it's usually entertaining. This was a horrible Raw after WrestleMania, in my opinion. But the idea is that one of the things that makes it entertaining is that we see cool things. Cena also and The Miz are not jobbers. And R-Truth. Like, R-Truth. I mean, R-Truth is like almost there as a cruiserweight, but like, not exactly, right? Cena, Miz, and Truth, like, and that was the best segment of the night other than the Drew McIntyre promo, right? I don't know why Miz isn't, getting a number one contendership shot, but fucking Ricochet does, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, this was dumb, and Cody's promo and accompanying video were just humiliating. And with that being said, cucks, get wrecked and see you soon, motherfucker.